Welcome to Quiz Stories, your go-to channel for uncovering the world's most intriguing mysteries. Today, we dive into the unsolved case of the Sodder children, a story that has haunted families and investigators since 1945. Was it a tragic accident, or is there something darker at play? Join us as we piece together the clues and challenge your knowledge with this gripping quiz. Let's get started. 1. On Christmas Eve 1945, the Sodder family celebrated in their Fayetteville, West Virginia home. The family included 10 children, but that night one was absent because he was A. Serving in the military, B. Visiting relatives, C. Spending the night at a neighbor's house. The eldest Sodder son was away serving in the military, leaving the rest of the family to celebrate together. 2. George and Jenny Sodder were Italian immigrants who built a life in the United States. George was known for his outspoken criticism of A. Local politics, B. The fascist regime, C. Corporate greed. George's vocal opposition to the fascist regime, particularly Benito Mussolini, created enemies and tensions within parts of the local Italian-American community. 3. In the weeks leading up to the fire, the Sodders began noticing unsettling events around their home. One incident involved a man visiting the house and claiming A. The house wiring was faulty, B. He was a long-lost relative, C. He was there to sell insurance. The man warned George that his house wiring was unsafe, which he found suspicious as he had recently updated the electrical system. 4. Shortly before the tragedy, the Sodders faced a series of anonymous threats. These ominous messages demanded that George A. leave town, B. stop criticizing Mussolini, C. pay a ransom. The threats warned of dire consequences if he didn't stay silent, adding to the family's growing fear of retribution. 5. On Christmas Eve, the Sodder children stayed up late, excited to play with their new toys. That night, Jenny Sodder received A. a suspicious phone call, B. a knock at the door, C. an anonymous letter. Jenny answered a puzzling phone call from a stranger asking for someone unfamiliar, which added to the unsettling events of the evening. 6. The fire erupted in the early hours of December 25, 1945. Jenny discovered the flames after waking up to check on A. the strange noise, B. an odd flicker of light outside, C. a disturbance outside. After hearing a loud noise on the roof followed by a rolling sound, Jenny spotted flames spreading from the living room, marking the beginning of the tragedy. 7. George and Jenny barely escaped the fire with 4 of their children. Their desperate attempts to re-enter the house were thwarted because A. the ladder was missing, B. the doors were locked, C. the staircase had collapsed. The ladder that George always kept near the house was mysteriously missing that night. 8. When firefighters arrived, the Sodder home was already reduced to ashes. Investigators found that the phone line had been A. severed intentionally, B. destroyed in the fire, C. disconnected earlier. The phone line had been deliberately cut before the fire, a detail that investigators found alarming, especially as no prior issues were reported. 9. Despite thorough searches, no remains of the missing children were ever found in the rubble. Experts at the time testified that a fire, A. could completely destroy bones, B. would leave some remains, C. would cause metal to warp. It was deemed highly unlikely that the fire could have incinerated all human remains, as bones typically withstand even extremely high temperatures and leave discernible fragments. 10. While inspecting the yard after the fire, the family uncovered a suspicious green rubber object. This object supposedly looked like A. a melted flashlight, B. a pineapple bomb hand grenade, C. a burnt electrical wire. The object was believed to be an incendiary device, possibly thrown onto the roof to start the fire. 11. As the search intensified, a witness came forward claiming to have seen the children. The sighting reportedly occurred at A. a diner, B. a bus station, C. a hotel. The witness reported seeing the children with strangers at a diner 50 miles away from Fayetteville, though the lead was never confirmed. 12. George Sodder turned to outside authorities for help in uncovering the truth about his loved ones. He appealed to A. a private detective, B. the FBI, C. the state governor. J. Edgar Hoover expressed willingness for the FBI to intervene in the case, but local authorities declined the Bureau's assistance, keeping the investigation within their jurisdiction. 13. In 1947, George embarked on a cross-country search for his children. One photograph particularly caught his attention, involving A. a young boy in New York, B. a group of children in Florida, C. a girl in Italy. George investigated a photo that showed a group of children standing together, one of whom bore a striking resemblance to his missing daughter Betty, but further investigation failed to verify any connection. 14. The Sodder family erected a prominent billboard near their home along State Route 16, pleading for information. The billboard displayed A. the children's pictures, names, and ages, B. a timeline of the fire, C. a plea for witnesses. A $5,000 reward was offered for information that could bring closure to the case or provide answers about even one child. 15. In 1949, the Sodders hired a private investigator who uncovered surprising leads. This investigator found witnesses who claimed to have seen A. a man carrying a heavy bundle, B. group of people moving through the woods, C. a truck leaving the property. The report of a truck speeding away from the Sodder property on the night of the fire raised suspicions, but investigators were unable to trace the truck or identify its driver. 16. In the years that followed, some acquaintances of the Sodder family reported anonymous tips being sent to them. These tips suggested that the missing children, A. were living under assumed identities, B. were relocated to Italy, C. were hidden in an orphanage. Reported sightings of children matching their descriptions in Italy strengthened the belief that they were alive, sparking speculation about a broader conspiracy. 17. In the 1960s, George and Jenny Sodder received a photograph in the mail of a young man in his mid-20s. On the back of the photograph were the words A. Louis Sodder, B. The girl is next, C. No longer alive. The photograph, labeled Louis Sodder, gave the family hope and reignited their search for answers. 18. More than 2 decades after the fire, the Sodders consulted forensic experts to re-examine the case. These experts concluded that the fire, A. was intentionally set, B. wasn't hot enough to destroy bones, C. was caused by faulty wiring. Forensic analysis once again supported the family's belief that the fire didn't burn hot enough to destroy all remains. 19. Despite years of searching, George Sodder passed away in 1969 without uncovering the truth. After his death, Jenny Sodder, A. continued the search until her death, B. removed the billboard near their home, C. hired a new investigative team. Jenny Sodder kept the billboard up and continued searching for her children until her death in 1989. 20. To this day, the Sodder children's case remains one of America's great mysteries. Historians and true crime enthusiasts theorize the children's disappearance was most likely caused by A. a kidnapping for ransom, B. a mafia-related abduction, C. a tragic accident with no foul play. Theories about a mafia connection remain popular due to George's outspoken political views and the unusual circumstances of the fire. Thank you for joining us in unraveling the mystery of the Sodder children. What do you think happened that fateful night? Share your theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Quiz Stories, and hit the notification bell for more quizzes and mysteries. Until next time, take care, stay sharp, and remember, every mystery holds a clue, waiting for curious minds like yours to uncover it.